All right, y'all, you already know what time it is. It's time for us to get angry all over again. It's time for us to be enraged one more time, all right? And I don't know who this beautiful woman is right here, but she dressed up for Halloween as the final season of Game of Thrones, and I'd just like to say that we all agree with her. We are all standing with her. We are all standing together in protest of that ain't shit ass season, bitch. I'm telling you that right now. Thanks goes to her for doing what needs to be done this spooky season. Let's get into it. So, the Hollywood Reporter says this: Lena Headey on her new film, of course, and how she wishes her Game of Thrones role ended. So first in this article, we're going to skip around. So first in this article, she talked about her directorial debut. Her film, The Trap, is premiering at the Austin Film Festival. Congratulations to her. But then she talked about Game of Thrones. Let's get to that. So the interviewer asked her, I naturally wanted to ask a couple Thrones-related questions. First, I'm curious, have you watched House of the Dragon? And she responded, nah. And I was like, oh my God. This is like the millionth cast member who said, hey, I am not watching House of the Dragon. And I understand it, like I get it, but that's kind of why I'm extra pissed at Dan and Dave, because it's like, damn, we're missing out on so much commentary from like the old actors, like the actors from the original series, because y'all hosts fucked it up so bad. Like y'all messed it up so bad. They don't want anything to do with that shit. The interviewer asked in response, would that be too weird? Like, would watching it be too weird for you? And she was like, yeah, too weird. Now, let's talk about this. You previously said that you wanted more for Cersei in that final season and suggested perhaps she could have had a fight scene or a different death. But I wondered, did you ever think about what your ideal storyline would have been for your character and what that would have been? And she responded by saying, I think all of us did, to be honest, because you start trying to write the story yourself. And of course you do, because if the writers ain't shit, then of course your mind wants to take over the reins of script writing, because the bitches they can't do that shit. Clearly, they can't do that shit. So you start trying to write the story yourself. And Maisie Williams and I would fantasize about a Cersei and Arya showdown, that she would come back as Jaime. That was our dream. That was our dream too. But they made different choices. And then the interviewer came back with, right, and I understand it from the showrunner's perspective too. I don't. The amount of pressure, the massive amount of work and time involved in trying to figure out how to get this complicated mix of stories just right. Lena responded, exactly. I think in hindsight, everybody understands that you're in it and you've been so invested. There's a moment of why, but I absolutely get it. I love how they're trying to, like, every time the actors have been asked about this, they're always like, okay, well, you know what? Yes, I do understand. It's a lot of pressure on the showrunners, a lot of pressure on the writers. I'm just like, girl, there's so many other shows that had a lot of pressure and a lot of shit to deal with, and they ended that shit well. They ended the finale well. They ended the last season well. There's so many shows they could have done it. Stop playing with me. So the interviewer then said, do you ever miss it? Like, do you ever miss working on Game of Thrones, whatever? She said, no, I miss the people, because you fall in love with the people and you create these family units. So that takes a little while to go through. There's a weird grief from those relationships. And I can only imagine, like, you're working on this show for 10 plus years or whatever. Like, that's crazy. There's a weird grief from those relationships, but I don't miss it. We did it. We put everything into it. It changed everyone's fucking world, and we'll always have it. So yeah, basically every single interview that we've come across with the actors from the original Game of Thrones series have had some of the same sentiments as the fans, right? We're just like, that ending was absolute basura. Like, that was garbage. That ending was garbage. They completely undid Jaime's progress by having him run back to Cersei and leaving Brienne of goddamn Tarth right here in her nightgown in the middle of Winterfell, crying over his ass. Crying. After all the work all the shit that Jaime has had to confront about himself, and, you know, all this fucking Kingslayer type shit, and him trying to improve his honor and better himself or whatever, him running back to Cersei at the end of the day was just so trifling. And that's how you know Dan and Dave can't fucking write. And it's just like, you had a way out sitting right there with Arya, being able to come back as Jaime, there was a way out right there. It was already predestined kind of tease, like with that prophecy and stuff. So it was right there. All y'all had to do with certain things is just follow what was already established. But y'all are so, Dan and Dave was so dizzy. They were so dizzy. You know, how cool would it have been for Cersei to be ecstatic at the fact that Jaime had finally come back to her? Like, she sees Jaime walk through the doors, especially after she has so many enemies around her. Like, she's like, you know, this is her last leg kind of tease. And she sees Jaime walk through the door and she's just like, oh my God, I'm so excited. I'm so happy he came back to me, blah, blah, blah. And they start embracing and touching and kissing, whatever. And just when she feels somewhat safe, he starts choking her ass out. Like, how cool would that have been to see, right? And then only for Cersei to realize, hey, it's Arya, babes. I'm back. The North remembers, babes. The North remembers, all right? And I'm back. Or would have been even cooler, maybe, is if Cersei went into that deep, dark grave thinking that the whole time that Jaime was the one who did it. Like, not even getting to see Arya take Jaime's face off, right? Not even getting to see that. Going to her fucking grave thinking that Jaime came back and choked her ass out. Like, that would have been cool as fuck. You know, anything else, anything but what we got. Dan and Dave didn't give a damn about plot, about storytelling. They didn't give a damn about the prophecies. Like, bitch, the whole entire series was leading up to the Night King fighting Jon Snow. And bitch, Dave, here come Arya. Here come Arya. So it's like, Dan and Dave didn't give a damn about plot, storytelling, prophecies, or the magic of the story. They basically damn near said it themselves. I remember they was on a panel talking about, yeah, girl, we wanted everybody to be invested, so we didn't focus that much on the magic. Like, girl, we gotta fight at this point. We gotta fight. I'm still so pissed. It was so insane also, you know, how Tyrion just moved a couple bricks over and found their bodies. I'm just like, bitch, the whole Red Keep's the whole Red Keep fell down upon their heads, right? And you mean to tell me that Cersei's face don't even look damaged? You can recognize it. The whole Red Keep fell on their head. They should be unrecognizable in the face. The only way that y'all should be able to identify their ass after a whole entire castle fall on their fucking head is maybe by their clothes and shit. If Cersei has some royal shit on, you know, maybe by their clothes, by their armor and shit. But girl, the whole castle fell on their heads. And Tyrion was right there, just moved a couple pebbles, moved some rocks around, moved some, you know, skipping stones around, bitch, and saw them just laying there sprawled out, no injuries to the fucking face, not crushed, nothing happened. I was like, this is a mess. This is a goddamn mess, and you cannot tell me otherwise. Cersei was too bad of a bitch. Let me tell you something. Cersei was just way too bad of a bitch to die in this weak ass way. Like, I'm so sorry. The plot was, and then remember when the Hound was outside talking to, while all this shit was going down, the Hound was outside talking to Arya, talking about, oh, well, girl, you don't want to do this. Don't follow me. Just, you know, do something else. It's like Arya spent all this time getting ready to kill all the people on her list, and you gonna talk to her and tell her, oh, you don't want to do this. You want to follow me. Don't follow me. Death is only the thing that's waiting for you. Arya don't give a shit about that. She's trying to kill Cersei. They didn't know how to write women characters at all, female characters at all. They did not. And it definitely showed. I hated it so much. So did the actors. Y'all better not let me tell you something. Y'all better not try that shit with House of the Dragon. And it's seeming like the people who really read the books down are already annoyed with some of the changes made. You know, I can deal with some changes, but it's just like, y'all better not mess this. And I feel like y'all know y'all can't mess this up because y'all trying to build this whole Marvel fucking cinematic universe off of George R. Martin stuff, and y'all need to get that shit right, girl. Like, I'm so serious. But yeah, I'm so sorry to Lena, to the rest of the cast that y'all had to go through this shit. So it was so bad that y'all can't even watch House of the Dragon with us. I completely understand. I'm so mad at Dan and Dave because, bitch, I would love to hear Emilia's commentary on the Targaryens right now. I would love to hear, you know, Lena's commentary. I would love to hear the entire cast commentary of what's going on. But it's just like, how can they speak about it? It's just weird. I can only imagine you spent that much of your life working on this show, and it ended how it ended. It's just, I can imagine that they're like, girl, I don't want to touch that shit with a 10-foot pole. As for right now, I'm just gonna chill, work on my other projects, work on my other films, and that's it. Like, I get it, but I'm still pissed. So yeah, let me know what y'all think about this in the comments. Love y'all so much, and I will catch y'all later. Peace.